Welcome into this week's RedHawk Baseball Weekly. Luke West Poley with the head coach, the Miami Redhawks, Brian Smiley, coach. Pick up another series win this past weekend. A little more dramatic, especially in the series finale, and then get your first midweek win yesterday on the season over Bellarmine. You guys are 22 and 18. Still got a little bit of a ways to go. You're going to spend the majority of these final few weeks of the season on the road, but what were your thoughts on this last weekend and kind of your recent form?
Yeah, that was, I mean, you said it. That was a tough series against Central Michigan, who, on paper has been struggling a little bit, but I think we got three of their best games. And the conditions were certainly not favorable for the type of offense that we have kind of become, which is a doubles and home runs type of offense. When the wind's blowing out, we're really, really good. We just, we don't really stack a lot of speed in there. Um, so whenever the wind's howling in at 25, 35 miles an hour, like it was, in Mount Pleasant, anything can happen. And luckily we got out of there with two wins. So it was a good series. It was a series that honestly could have gone any way you could have dissected that anyway. We could have won all three. We could have lost all three. They could have won two of three. We obviously did win two of three. They could have really gone either way. It was a tough series, and you got to tip your cap to them because we've got three of their best games right there, and they certainly weren't rolling over whenever they got behind, and they were ready to play. From the first pitch of game one through the obviously the last pitch of game three. So you tip your cap to them.
And yesterday, you guys win your first midweek game of the season against Bellarmine. You guys end up with a 10-4 final. Couple decently strong offensive innings for you guys, really fueled by that four-run fourth where you guys retook the lead and did not relinquish it after that point. Got out hit by Bellarmine, but took advantage of some free passes. You got a pretty strong midweek pitching performance again, which is really the probably second or maybe even third straight week, you could say,
Mm-hmm.
where your midweek pitching has looked really, really rock solid between the few guys that you threw out yesterday. But what did you think of kind of finally being able to get one in the midweek?
Well, it was good to finally win one. We have certainly not necessarily played our best baseball during the midweeks, but the last few weeks we haven't played bad. We've just been right on the short end of the stick with them. That Kentucky game was a tough game that could have gone either way. You look back to that Cincinnati game that got canceled, but we were winning in the top of the fifth. The Xavier game a couple weeks ago was right there in the late innings. We haven't played bad. We've just been, on the short end of the stick against quality opponents. So, but you're right. Our pitching has been really good the last few weeks in the midweek, and that, certainly is a testament to Coach Scully and Coach Colgate for working with those guys and staying with it because guys are obviously getting better and they're getting better right in front of our eyes, especially the young guys. Charlie did well again yesterday. Ahmad has done well for a couple weeks in a row again. I should have challenged a forced play slide rule there, and I think it was the fourth inning. I should have challenged that, and I didn't. That would have taken two runs off the board. I regret that one. We've got two challenges, and I should have used one of them after going back and looking at video. That would have been an obvious uh, two outs right there. So that would have been the end of the inning, and that would have certainly made Vardafis's line look a lot better. Uh, so he Nick has done a good job. He's not a strikeout guy. He's going to get contact, and he did that. And I should have challenged that call and missed that opportunity. So that one is certainly on me. Yeah.
But looking at these midweeks overall, you mentioned Nick Vardavis coming back for you guys after kind of an extended period where he was out. He was banged up a little bit and coming back and getting to throw an inning yesterday. And obviously, Ahmad with another good outing. Charlie Deeriff gave you an inning and a third quality. Just, to those that aren't aware, when you have to go up to Avon in a few weeks and play a lot of games, ideally in a short span, how important is it now to get some of these guys that maybe haven't been seeing time on the weekend, some quality innings, and to see them pitch well?
It's huge. I mean, it's everything. You In order to get into an NCAA regional in the MAC, right now it's a one bid league. So that means you have to win your conference tournament. And in order to win the conference tournament, you're going to need seemingly the entire pitching staff to throw and throw well if you're going to win the tournament. Not only do they have to throw, they have to be ready to throw and they have to throw well during the most important games of the year. So that's the unfortunate part of being having to win your conference tournament to get into a regional. If you're sitting there knowing that you're an at-large selection, you have that luxury of knowing that it's not all or nothing. But that's not us. That's not the MAC right now, at least in the time being. And hopefully in the future we can be in a position to where we know that if we don't win the tournament, we can still get in. But that's it's not us right now. So those midweek games, they become huge to develop those guys and make sure that they are ready when it's conference tournament time, because we're going to need them all.
Heading to Ohio this week, a Bobcat team that has been on the struggle bus a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but you guys played a very tight series with them last season. They came from behind on Sunday to steal the series, taking the final two games of that series. 12-11 was the final in that Sunday game, which saw a lot of scoring, especially late. And Ohio ended up with the series win in your place, and now you go to their place this year. And again, you faced a team last week that you mentioned that was struggling a little bit as well in Central Michigan, and got some of those tougher games from them that they'd played all season. So as you've kind of had a chance maybe to look at the scouting and you get ready to go tomorrow up to Athens, what's your overall thoughts on the Bobcats?
I think it'll be the same message that it was last week. Whenever you're sitting, you can kind of look at the top two or three teams any way you want. If we're in third place, if we're in first place, us, Kent State and Ball State are kind of right there, 1, 2, and 3. Anytime you're sitting at the top, you're going to get everybody's best game because that's just how college baseball is. They're going to be prepared because they know if they're not, they're going to get beat. That's just how it is whenever you're at the top of the league. So we understand we're going to get Ohio's best game, and they are more than capable because of beating us, because they can hit a little bit. They've been kind of bitten by the injury bug a little bit. So I don't know who's going to necessarily be in the lineup for them, because they've had some very key players go down. So I don't really know what to expect from a lineup from them, which, depending on how you look at it, can be scary. Whenever you're getting young guys in there or guys that haven't played a lot, all they're doing is just trying to contribute and stay in the lineup. So they're battling their butts off if they're in there in replace of a guy that's gotten injured. And those guys can be scary because they don't care about their numbers. They're just trying to help a team win. And those types of lineups they can be scary. So we need to make sure that we're physically ready, but more so probably mentally ready to get somebody's best game. Because if you're not playing well and you get somebody's best game, you're going to get beat. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter who you are. Even though they're not probably having the year that they want, they're absolutely a good Division I program, and they're more than capable of beating us.
Looking at these last couple of games for you guys, there have been some kind of struggling points in the lineup, but you got a multi-hit game from Evan Applewick yesterday. You've put up 7 runs in the series finale. You put up 10 runs yesterday, so you're seeing some of that uptick, I think, in the offense a little bit. Once again, that we saw with some crooked numbers earlier on in MAC play, and you've played a lot of defense as well in the last couple of games. Had some really strong defensive plays made yesterday. Haven't made an error over the last 2 games, so I know you're a big defense guy. But what's it been like to just see that complimentary baseball played by your team and turn into results over these last couple games?
Well, you're right. I mean, that is the sign of a good team, Luke. We're probably not swinging it as well as we would like on paper, results wise, be, because a lot of balls are being hit at guys, or there's not as many guys that are hot at the same time. So the offensive production might be down a tick, but at the same time, the pitching has been really good or better, and the defense has been good. So you're not swinging it as well as you'd like, but the other parts of the game we're doing well to kind of combat the offense, which is a sign of a good team. And if the pitching isn't great, then our hitters have to step up. That's just how it is. That's how teams that aren't playing their best, they still win games in the process because they pick each other up on the different aspects of the game. And then when you start clicking on all cylinders and you get hot, like I believe we are going to, then you become, very tough to beat when you're clicking on all cylinders. And we've talked about that before. Like we've seen glimpses of it, and whenever we are, playing our best, we become very, very, very hard to beat.
3 games for the Miami RedHawks this week. The Battle of the Bricks on the Diamond. They take on the Ohio Bobcats on the road. 6 o'clock start Friday, 4 o'clock start Saturday, 1 o'clock start on Sunday. All three of those games can be found on ESPN Plus for the stream. Also starts an 8-game road swing in addition for Miami before they head back home on May 9th for the final home series of the year against Akron. Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Luke.